Welcome to the JAWN podcast. I'm your host, Shalia.
And your host, Janina.
And today's affirmation says, when people can't understand your favor, they focus on your flaws. Keep shining.
So this week, we're gonna start a new segment um called the Word of the Week. So we want to leave everybody with a word that can assist you in your journey. So this week's word is communicative. I selected this word because I seen a video and I just know how important communication is and the ability to communicate effectively. So communicative means to have the ability to communicate, to exchange thoughts and ideas. A communicative person is one who can communicate easily. I feel like a lot of times, honestly, it's underrated how hard it is to communicate with some people, um, me included. So, 7 benefits of effective communication are building trust, preventing or resolving problems, providing clarity and direction. It creates better relationships, increases engagement, improves productivity, and promotes team building. So these are ways that being communicative can help you in your personal life and your professional life. The word
Okay.
of the week, communicative.
Okay. Communicative. I got to work on my communication as well. I think I'm a lot better. I just sometimes use the wrong words. Um, Like when saying something to someone or we're in disagreement, I'm always saying always and never. And those aren't always necessarily true that the person doesn't never do this or they always say and do this. So I got to work on it. Yeah. So sis, you cool? How you feel today?
I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm good. I'm writing down my to-do list and scratching things off. Look, I'm getting my life together.
That's what I like to hear.
Yes.
I'm good, y'all. I'm tired today. It's been raining every single day here, and it's supposed to rain the rest of the week. Um, but I'm good. I can't complain. But in Georgia, when it rains, it's not a lot of sewers. And the way that they built the road, it's like
What is that about?
the water gathers on the road. So it's always
Right. It's not drainage.
splat.
It's
Yeah.
not proper drainage.
So you always can possibly hydroplane and it's annoying. So,
Yeah.
all right. Oh, I like that drawing. You got, oh, I like that drawings for this week.
Um, Mine is Babyface Tiny Desk.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah. You didn't like it?
it's my I like that joint.
Oh, you was like, that's why I'm like,
Because I was going to say I watched Charlie Wilson's also. So, but
okay, yeah.
I watched Babyface first. Because anyway, I was listening to Here's the Thing, and they were talking about it. So, yeah, I thought his Tiny Desk was good. I thought that he was the first out of all the Tiny Desks I seen. They were all like vocalists and artists. I never saw a Tiny Desk with a songwriter who had other people singing the songs while he was on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was neat. He was like, I'm too cool for school. I'm gonna get somebody else to sing this song. I don't think I realized that he wrote Superwoman though.
He
And
wrote
Shantae Moore.
so many songs.
I
That's the
know. Girl,
thing.
Shantae Moore is like 55 years old looking like that.
Yeah, and what's the guy name? Um,
Tank.
no, the younger guy who was singing.
Oh yeah. Something Brown.
Why can't I think of his name? Well, anyway, when I went to the the Black Music Honors. He
Hmm.
sang and he did Tevin Campbell.
Oh, did he?
I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's how. That's where that That's I think that's where that challenge came from. The Tevin Campbell challenge. Remember they were talking about it on the Tiny Desk. The guy
What is his
started that.
name? Is it Avery Wilson? I think that's his name.
Oh yeah, something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it
Something like
is.
that.
But he could sing. He really. I At the time I was like, what? He ain't going, because it was, honoring Tevin Campbell, so they had him, and I'm like, they couldn't get nobody better, but he surprised me. So
That
yeah.
is so funny. Avery Wilson. Yep, you're right. Avery Wilson.
Hmm. Yeah. What's your other? Oh, I like that, John.
Um, for style and fashion, long skirts with. So I had this one skirt that has like this sparkly tulle on the outside of it.
Hmm.
So I was looking for another skirt like that, but I found one. It just had like it was like pleated and then it had a tulle on top of it. So I guess I'm looking for because it's like it's not a tutu. You know what I mean? Because it's not
It's
like big and
longer.
puffy. It's
Wait,
long and it
is it
has
pleated?
the one I have on now is pleated with a tulle with like a tulle on top of it. The other one I
Okay.
had is not pleated. It's solid blue. It's a solid blue lining, and then the tulle is blue with gold sparkles. But it
Okay.
has like a elastic waistband, and it goes past my knee.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't have one. Actually, no, I don't have it anymore. I actually sold it at like a sidewalk sale we had. I used to have a long pleated one like that. It was long though, like to my ankles.
Yeah, yeah. The one I have on now goes. It doesn't go to my ankles. It goes past my knee though.
Yeah, I'm short, so
Right.
it was
It
longer
will
than
go probably
it.
to your ankles. It probably will
Yeah.
go to your ankles if you had it on.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Um so my I like that, Jones. Y'all know I'm greedy. I'm always making some experiment in the kitchen. But I made some banana pudding ice cream. Oh my god. I was like, I need to sell this.
What did you use as your dairy product?
So this time I made it. They have a non-dairy heavy whipping cream. So I used the
What is it made?
non-dairy. Huh?
What is it made with? What is it made with?
I would have to show you the thing, but it's made with coconut milk.
Oh, okay.
And then I use that, but I use the regular can of coconut milk because the coconut milk has another consistency that brings it and makes it, fully fluffy.
Hmm.
Um, and so I used that, and then I mashed up a banana or a few bananas. I think it was two bananas, and I layered it with the cream, the banana, and the cookies like you would a banana pudding. It was really good. Um, and then my other I like that joint. I know a lot of people be giving Dr. Umar a lot of backlash, but he was on this podcast called the Deli Wrap Up Crew Podcast, and I kept seeing clips of it. And the clips
Yeah.
that I saw were really good. Like I
Hmm.
agreed with him on a lot of things. So I said,
Yeah.
sometimes you can't, the clips don't give you fully understanding of what he was saying or in a context. I said, well, let me go listen so I can see what he was fully saying. And
Uh-huh.
it was really good. I don't care what nobody say. He made
I'll
some very
listen
good
to it.
points.
I'll listen to. This is the thing about Dr. Umar that he's a very educated. I think that's what makes him so controversial is that he's very educated. So some of his information is valid, but he puts his opinion on it and it like spins it. So I think I seen like just a small clip where he was basically stating, from my understanding, he was stating that black men is the reason why black women are becoming masculine or something.
No, so the guy on the podcast, well, that's kind of, but the guy on the podcast was pretty much saying, why do we have to deal with these women who are masculine? And so Dr. Umar was
Oh,
pretty much saying, um, it's because women have had to. So they were talking about mass incarceration and the black man being removed from the household.
right,
And they were saying, well, why do we have to put up with that? Because she had a hard life. And he's like, well, it's not their fault. Mass incarceration happened. Black men were, removed from the household.
white supremacy.
But
Yeah,
the other black men in the community weren't stepping up and saying, hey, oh, you got a son? Let me be a mentor to your son while his dad is away. And so women have had to step up to the plate and raise sons and take care of the household and go to work and do everything. So the way that things have went in the world is why they're the way that they are. It's not their
right,
fault.
right,
So that's pretty much. And then the men didn't understand their Dr. Umar's whole idea of the community stepping in to help. And he was basically
right,
saying, like, that's the issue as well, because you're only worried about your family. You're
right,
not going to step up and mentor another young man or even connect him with someone that can mentor him, which is
right.
true. So,
Which is something that I believe happened post 70s. Like, I don't feel like a lot of people experienced that, like, in the 30s and 40s. You know what I mean? Like, people did have uncles or other people who did step up if the father wasn't in the household. But I do think that the dynamics of the black family has changed a lot. And a lot of people, it's unfortunate that the black woman, in my opinion, always gets the short end of the stick. And then we're not only the victim of the white supremacy breaking up the black family and, crack being in the like all of that,
yeah,
and then we're also blamed for adapting. So it's
exactly.
like, but then not only are we blamed for adapting, we're also relied upon to be strong.
Yeah,
It's like it's so many different facets that it's like, well, you should know how to keep a man. You shouldn't have kids by a man that's not there. You should you should be at home taking care of your kids and stop working so much.
not
You should
truly understanding why I'm doing these
you should not
things.
be on welfare and you need to get
Right.
a job. You you need to stop
Always
thinking
pointing the
that you
finger.
don't need a man. You need,
Right.
it's like, which one is it? You
And
need
that's
to
the
stop saying you
thing.
don't need a man. You need to raise your kids, and you
Right.
like, it's so crazy. You like, well, which lane? What do you want from us?
Yes. And that's the thing too that they were saying. He was saying, it's not that they don't want a man, but they've been without a man for so long, and then when they get a man, most of the time these men out here are dependent on the women. It's just
Yes.
so much to it. And
Yes. Yeah, it's convoluted because if you're raising your son to treat women a certain way and showing by examples, then your son then will not, will make different decisions. But a lot of
yeah,
times men don't have dads and don't have, an example. Like he said, it's like, okay, even if
it's a
you don't have,
continuous cycle.
yeah, like I know plenty of people who father was not in their household, but their standards of a man is based on their grandfather or based
Right.
on their uncle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is a lot of people who do not have anybody. All they
Mm-hmm.
have is their mom,
Yep.
and
And
she's
then
struggling.
he was saying I feel the same. The black community, like, we're so torn apart and we don't have any unity. He was saying, go on your social media page. Can you tell that there's an economic crisis when you see your friends on social media? No. You
Right.
would not know because we're out here spending money on this, doing this for the economy who literally cares nothing about us. But if we
Right.
were to come together and, spend our money in our own communities, we could be so
Yeah.
much better. It
Right.
was good to
Yeah. I mean,
me.
that's what I'm saying. That's an ongoing conversation
It
because
is.
it's unfortunate that it at several times in history, Black people did come together and, were starting their own monopoly and it was destroyed. So that to me impacted future generations of like, no, I'm just gonna worry about myself. I'm not.
Yeah, but that's the thing too. There are that mentality of I'm aware about myself goes back to the whole parenting thing with the five. But also there are Black businesses out here and they don't get enough support to sustain.
They
So
don't, but the rest of the world don't want the Black people to get anything. So it's like just like Job, like those Korean people was like trying to stop him from doing things. Like it's bookstores, they try, like it's so many ways that other people are like interjecting too. So it's like you got to fight against the other people, then you also got to fight against your own
your
people who
own
not
people.
supporting you. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
It is. It is. But if y'all get a chance, I mean, like I said, I know a lot of people, have
I'm gonna
different
listen to it.
opinions about him, but I think that it was really good and that he made some really good points.
Yeah.
You like people say you chew up the meat and spit out the bones, take away from it what you will for yourself or. So prime time. What did you buy? You better not say nothing from no Timu.
Shut up. um, I did had to buy my son some sandals. I mean, it's a new season, so he needs more summer stuff. I bought him sandals. I bought myself a notebook. And I bought the skirt I was telling you about, and I got my daughter some bathing suits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I've been doing a little shopping, but I haven't in a minute. So I bought a few things, and I even forgot to put something on here that I bought. But I had bought a pair of sneakers, but I sent them back. I realized that I'm not really a sneaker person. I just didn't like them. I didn't feel comfortable. I had wore them, and I was just like, yeah, I don't like these sneakers. So I sent those back. So I don't know if that really counts. Um and then I bought a clothes steamer. If y'all don't know, I am the queen of fabric wrinkle releaser spray. I will spray some wrinkle releaser on my clothes and shake them out. But it's just in my old, like, now I do not. First of all, our ironing board is like a heavy duty joint from back in the day where it's heavy, you gotta do a lot to get it out. I don't be feeling like that. So, and then I don't want to iron on the bed, bending my back, all of that. So I was watching this video and somebody had a clothes steamer and they just hung up the shirt and got the steamer. So I bought a clothes steamer. Um, and then I also, because of my transplant, I can't go out in the sun without sunscreen. Um, but I found this. So originally I was using Black Girl sunscreen, but it would leave like a white cast on my face. Um, so I discovered this tinted sunscreen and it's called Super Goop. So pretty much you put that on, it's a sunscreen and it's a like a tinted moisturizer, so you don't have to put on makeup. You just put that on. You got your little bit of makeup because I don't wear a lot of makeup, and then I have the sunscreen as well. So that's what I bought. All right, so you gotta hit this joint up is where we highlight a small business. And this week we're highlighting Queen Eyes Company. They are located at 7124 West Germantown Avenue in Philadelphia, PA. Their phone number is 267 336 3443, and they're open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. They offer the following services: nails, natural and extensions. They offer pedicure, lash extensions, makeup, microblading, and waxing. Um, this is a Black owned, woman owned business, and you can find them on Instagram at Queen Eyes Company, all one word. You can visit their website at queeneyeslashing@gmail.com. And of course, their website is queeneyescompany.com. And shout out to why did I just lose my train of thought? One of our listeners, oh y'all, don't kill me. Wait a minute. What is her name? We highlighted her business before. Ooh, why can I not think of her name? I'm sorry, Janina. I know you're going to have to edit this out.
It's fine.
Be Fly online, but she has a company anyway. She posted about them. She's very familiar with them, and so I found out about this company from them. She had posted her nails, and they looked really nice. And I asked her, was this a Black owned business? Because it's hard to find a Black owned business where you can get all of these things done in one place.
Definitely.
And then I was disappointed because I was looking up, I'm into press ons now, and I was looking for some Black owned press on companies. And someone had made a list during the pandemic. I lied to you not. I went to every single one. Most of them are not in existence anymore, or their
Mm-hmm.
websites are not in existence.
Right.
So if you are a Black owned, or you know a Black owned press on company that ships, let me know because I need it. I want to support. I'd rather buy them, and they have to be short. I don't want those long, coffin, pointy, long nails. So yeah. So current events. We got a lot to talk about.
Girl.
So y'all know that this past Monday was Juneteenth, and you want to tell, or you want me to talk about it?
Well, okay. So the thing about Juneteenth is that it is a federal holiday, just like any other federal holiday. And not all companies acknowledge it as a paid holiday or
Right,
a day that they're closed. So, you know, it's just funny because some organizations may say, oh, well, it's not a paid holiday, but, some people take personal days for these important holidays or whatever. But I don't know. I just think it's odd to like do a post and send an email and everything about Juneteenth and that you support your African American customers and employees and vendors
right,
and all of that, but
right.
you can't even give them the option as a floating holiday.
Exactly.
But I mean, because my thing is, I know, like, if you aren't directly correlated with the banks or, something that's closed, then people do want to still do their business that day. Like, a lot of people have off, so they want to be able to handle certain businesses that day or whatever. I get it. But you should at least try to be progressive and give people um off, but whatever. But I know, like, I guess a lot of times their argument is like, well, we don't have Veterans Day off, we don't have President's Day off, you know what I mean? Like, there's other federal holidays that they don't have off. But you know some organizations, and I do judge some organizations because throughout my professional career, not all jobs have off on MLK Day. I worked at a job for
Yeah,
years that didn't have off on MLK Day.
right.
So I'll give you a little less slack if you have off on MLK Day. But like if you're like, we're not giving you MLK and we ain't giving you
Or
Juneteenth,
Juneteenth,
that's
right?
telling me right there you really do not care about the black folks.
Yeah,
Um, but again, it's a new holiday. Maybe next year, because I know this year is kind of like the first year for some companies where people are having it off. So we'll see. Hopefully next year more organizations will have off or give back that day or something.
yeah. When I was working before I got this job, and they didn't have off Juneteenth, but then I went to the CEO and sent the email, and then they were sending around. Should we have off for Juneteenth? Like, come on.
Yeah, hello.
So I don't know what the ending result, but that's you know, I don't want to make everything about black and white but now that I work for a company and around people who look like me and who realize the impact of things, I just can say like it's no question. This is something that we're observing and that's just it. So these jobs, they gotta do better. I'm not taking a why should I have to take a personal day? So
Hilarious.
right. Um
So, oh yeah, the next current event. I didn't know this man was scamming. I just came across a reel of this person saying that he owed him all his money. I'm like, wait, what?
girl.
So apparently big business in Philly um have been scamming and people
AKA
who
Greg
were
Parker. That's his real name.
have been scamming people who were trying to invest money. And these people are black.
Mm-hmm.
And we not talking about like $300. We
No.
talking about $50,000, $100,000. You know, uh, so I don't know.
It's
It's
been
scary because you
ongoing.
can't
I've
say you
seen
can't even say like do
lives.
your research. Really? Oh
People
wow.
on live. He's a known
So he's
scammer,
basically running a Ponzi scheme. Then
pretty
he he's
much.
he's running a Ponzi scheme. He's making all of his money from taking people money.
People money. Hmm.
So
Because
Madoff.
listen, I'm not going to lie. When I first came across him, I almost invested my money in it. This is what he was selling. If you give me, I think it was like $10,000, and I'm gonna find you a house, and we gonna renovate it, and everything gonna be done. But you gotta. It was like you paid him $10,000 for a one-on-one investment class, and he was going to teach you everything that you needed, and he was pretty much going to find you an investment property for $10,000, and he was going take you through all
That
the
sounds
steps.
like a
He was going to
scam.
show you the renovations. Listen, he almost had me so he was going to show you the renovations because his whole thing is I have a whole demo team. I got a construction team. My wife is the finance person. She going to get you the funds. All of this, right? So I was almost so I was telling Eric like we should do this. Yeah. Girl, no. People started coming out saying this is how it all started. People was saying that they was paying him this money and then they never got no house. They never heard
Yeah.
nothing back from him. They was calling
Mhm.
him, he's unreachable.
Mhm.
So it's another big real estate guy that's here in Atlanta. He's the one who had the whole live with people on there saying how he took their money and they
Oh
can't
wow.
reach him. And then when they do get him on, so they like we you saw the one you sent me, they call him on the phone or have voice recorded messages from him saying, like, I ain't nobody trying to take your money. Like, I'm busy. I'm out here working.
Why
And
do people get upset when people are just give me the money back then? Like, why are you upset? Just get the money back. If you are too busy and you are overwhelmed with all these requests and you can't fulfill it, then you should have been stopped accepting requests so that you can address the people who you took the money from,
but he
or
don't have
give
their
everybody
money.
money back.
That's the thing. You
Oh, you
heard him
don't
say, like,
have
I don't
money.
have that kind of money. How you don't have that kind of money and you taking these people money?
Who got the money, sir? If you don't have the money and I don't have the deed, who got the money?
Janina, he out here buying houses for himself, cars for himself.
I
Every
gotta
time
pay
if
my
you
bills.
if you watch his Instagram and stuff, oh, they always coming with a new car. Oh, my wife got a new car, and but they make it like, oh, his wife know how to do like the whole financing thing and get you money and get you loans and all of this stuff. They even were having classes that people were paying for, and they was going to Ace, like all over, like Chicago, Ohio, because they were saying like these are the up and coming places to buy properties. And they had classes. People were paying $500 to go to these
Yeah.
classes and stuff. It's a lot.
Yeah, because even because DJ Envy was doing that, you know?
He got called out
But
too.
did he?
Yes, he got called
It's
out
too much.
too. It
It's too
is.
much.
It
All right.
is. So
So
I don't know if y'all heard the story about the young lady from Girls High who's Muslim. Um, she didn't receive her diploma during graduation because so their whole rule was they didn't want anybody cheering for the graduates or the graduates, saying hi to their family or waving or
this
doing
is what I'm
anything
gonna
like
say
that.
about that. All of that, because all of that is rooted in white supremacy. It's rooted in, like, people don't understand. Black people were not allowed to rejoice. Black people were not allowed to laugh. Black people were not allowed to show any excitement in public.
Right,
This is correlated to that. I've graduated from college. They don't have that rule in college.
right,
So why my kid who went to school for 12 damn years can't get praise during the time of us? But when I went to I will say, when I went to my nephew's graduation, they didn't have that rule. They embraced it. They did not have that rule because it's unnecessary.
it
Like,
is.
people
In
are still
high
going to do
school,
that.
yeah, high school may be as far as some people go. And that's a big milestone. You know how many people don't finish high school? So
Yeah,
why
I just
can't
don't.
parents be
It's
happy and
obnoxious.
rejoice? So they
And
didn't
why
give
can't the
her.
kids rejoice? Like, it wasn't like she twerked or
She
did a
gritty.
flip.
And the reason why the
But they're saying
principal,
that. Go ahead.
because the crowd laughed. Because the crowd laughed.
Why do you have to control everybody? You don't have to control everybody. So I do know that, like, when I was in when I was in high school, this was, I mean, it was somewhat my fault, but whatever. So when I was in high school, we had like a presentation during graduation. We had a script, and one of my friends went off script,
Hmm.
and we had a senior luncheon that was after graduation, and they told her she couldn't come to the senior luncheon because she went off script. I just hate the whole punishing of children. Like, punishing them for something, like, the punishment doesn't match the crime. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. You know? I
And
just
so
hate to take it.
now,
But I was hearing that she got her diploma. They just didn't hand her the piece of paper at the graduation.
but now it was an embarrassing moment for her because now this is all over the internet. You could see the principal kind of scolding her, and then like she initially was going to hand it to her, then took it back and put it down.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Which
she
is
has to live
dumb.
with this for the rest of her life. And then now the damn alumni association is siding with the principal. Who's on this damn alumni association?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see that though. At Girls High, like rules are rules. I'm gonna ask my little
Right.
cousin because she graduated from Girls High this year too.
My cousin that
Um,
graduated from Girls High. So at this graduation, they had invited all the alumni to come and walk. They had everybody wearing white. I don't know. That's their tradition. I didn't go to Girls
yeah, that's
High.
their
It'll be. I'm
tradition.
gonna talk to Coco too because she went to Girls High. But I know a couple people who went to Girls High, and they're saying tradition. That's their tradition. That's the
That is,
way it
yeah, that's
is.
their tradition.
But I mean, I feel like give her some leeway. She did get her diploma, but I don't think they even gave it. I gotta read more. I don't think they even gave it to her that day.
I think they must have told her. They must have told the kids like, no funny business. When you get your
Yeah,
diploma,
they
walk
did.
straight over. But it's
Hmm.
just like, why? What is it? Like, come on. Like, what is it? Why is it taken away from this? Is my celebration. Like,
Right.
there's no graduation without graduates. This is my celebration. I just hate when they're always punishing kids for dumb stuff. Like, it's obnoxious.
Yeah,
But
it is.
anyway, yeah,
I mean, I
it's
feel
obnoxious.
like this is something that she now has to live with. And she was interviewed by the news and she was on the shade room. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
I want to know
that's
what happened to that girl and that girl that went missing and they found her. I want to know what's going on. What happened?
that happened with a girl here, and she left on the last day of school, found her keys on top of her sister's car. She met somebody online. And the man, they ended up finding her at this guy's house. He was like 40. She's like 16. And so they ended up arresting him. So I think that these younger girls are meeting these men online that's persuading them to come to my house. And I don't,
I like
it's
to miss
weird.
your graduation. I don't know.
I think this girl, I gotta look. I think she, no, I don't know if the one here missed her, but yeah, I think that's what's going on. That's seems to be, that's why you gotta talk to your kids about the internet, check their phones, all of that stuff. But the way that the world is now, you could think you talking to
It's scary.
Crystal
It's
that's your
very
age, and
scary.
it's a whole grown man that's plotting
Right.
on you online. So
Yes. And yeah, they sex trafficking the mess out of people.
yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to our topic.
So
So
we're going to get into this week's episode topic. And this week's episode topic is, when is the appropriate time to tell your company or supervisor about your illness or disorder, physical or mental?
So I guess the reason why we chose this as a topic is because we both did start new jobs and just I guess kind of like offering up personal information that's pretty delicate can be kind of like stressful, or like you not necessarily know if you're putting this information into somebody's hands who's not going to use it against you or judge you or just use it to harm you.
Mm-hmm.
um it and then some people, so many people when it comes to like their job lie about stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like you want to make sure that you're not playing a victim card, but you also want to be somewhat transparent about what's going on in your life. So like for me, I have anxiety, and before I started my job, like I was in communication with my new job, and then like the communication had just stopped and I started to get worried.
Mm-hmm.
So um I told my manager, she was like, oh, well, it's nothing. Like, if you're unaware of somebody's like mental capacity, you like you're not thinking like, oh, she's probably worried, like, because I didn't reply to her text message. Like, you have no idea. So I let her know, and she understood because her wife also has anxiety, and she then like was telling me about her ailments. You know, like she has ADHD and she also has lupus. So like that for me helps me build. I'm being intentional with my relationship, and I'm trying to build this genuine relationship with this person that I'm working with, you know, so that I can trust them. And so like, you know, me knowing about her situation can make me like be more aware of things also, you know? So I don't know. So you could talk about your experience.
So for me, I don't think that there's ever a right or a wrong time. I feel like you should go with what you're led to do. Um, I pretty much have had an illness all my life. Have I always told my jobs? No. And the reason being is because I didn't want any special treatment, or I didn't want them thinking that I couldn't perform my job.
Right.
Um and usually the only time jobs will find out is if I had to go to the hospital and I had to be there for multiple days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, my last encounter of having a transplant is more serious because it totally affects my life in every way. Too much stress and different things can affect my body and affect my transplant. I'm trying to keep this transplant for the long haul. Um, so in my last job, I wasn't really led to tell my supervisor, but I guess I felt comfortable enough. She was just asking me, you know, what brought me to Georgia and things like that. And I told her, you know, I recently had a transplant and things like that. And I got emotional about it. And I was embarrassed because it's still emotional for me when I talk about it because I came so far. And, you know, I was apologetic and she was like, it's okay, it's okay. And then after the call, I was like, Dad, I don't think I should have told her because I don't feel like she was really a trustworthy person after I thought about it.
Right.
And that was from previous emails that she was very passive aggressive.
Right.
So from previous emails, and then come to find out it was so much in that company. She must have told someone else. They told another
Right.
person who was pretty much on my side. It wasn't like higher up management, okay, but this other person was pretty much on the same level as I was. Why do you know my business? You're not
Right.
HR, because I didn't even tell HR, you're not HR, you're not my supervisor, you're not the man. Why do you know my business?
Right.
So, and I had my therapist at that time, and I told my therapist, I was like, I shouldn't have told her. And she was pretty much like, well, there's something that happened where you felt comfortable and now it's out there. There's really nothing that you can do. You know, just moving on,
Be
feel
selective.
do what you're led to do. Um Also too, I'm in a support group for trans people with transplant who are returning back to work. And that's one thing that we always talk about. And most of the people in that group say, I don't tell my supervisor until I'm at least a year in
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be judged or I don't want to be looked at or I don't know if I'm going to be at this job for the long haul. So a year is kind of like at the point where I would suggest you talking to your supervisor about it. Technically, that supervisor that I told, she shouldn't have done that. That's wrong. You're not supposed to do that because if I need to take FMLA or something like that, they're not supposed to know why. I've taken FMLA before. Your immediate supervisor is not supposed to know because they can judge you. So technically, she wasn't supposed to do that. And technically, you're not required to tell your immediate supervisor. That's what I know from taking FMLA at a previous job. Um, However, at this job, I feel that now I need to be more transparent. Only because what I'm going through now is really serious. And like I said, it can affect me in so many ways. And honestly, I had prayed about it during our first meeting I had with this supervisor, but I wasn't let to tell her. And then when everything came up about me working all these hours and working late, I said, well, I'm going to tell her because she needs to
Right.
know that this is why I can't work late, or this is
Right.
why I have a max on the amount of clients that I can take.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I don't think it's the right time or a wrong time.
I think that like for instance, I was pregnant while I was interviewing before, and
Mm-hmm.
I was very early in my pregnancy, and I was interviewing, and in my head I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to have to tell them that I'm pregnant."
Right.
Well, um before I started the job, I actually miscarried.
Wow.
So, it was like, okay, well great. Luckily I never said anything.
Yeah.
So then a year later is when I got pregnant again, and I was leaving that job. And I didn't want to tell them the real reason why I was leaving was for my mental health, because I felt attacked and I felt unsafe and I felt it was a toxic workspace. That was the real reason why I was leaving. But because I had to work out the last 2 weeks, I didn't want to tell them that reason. So, because of that, I told them about my pregnancy. I told them because I felt pressured. Like I felt like she kept wanting to know, like, oh well, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? So I told her about my pregnancy, and like they told somebody else, like somebody, somebody a whole nother department came over and was like, oh, I heard, and it's
It's
like,
so unethical.
how do you not? How do you not know that this is someone's personal business? You
Right.
know, um, or like even at the same exact job. So this is the thing. You can have it What makes it scary is that you can have a superior that is a humane person who will be empathetic towards your situation, and that information could help you perform your job better, allow you to be less stressed or less pressured, right? Then you can have somebody who is a class one asshole who do not care about your ailment. And because you already divulged that information, you're going to be more agitated by them. So this same person, when I first started, a woman was out on FMLA because she was recovering from cancer.
Mm-hmm.
This same director would still be emailing this lady asking her to do work, knowing that she's recovering from cancer. But
That's
of
the
course,
thing.
at the time, I don't really know about this. I don't
Right.
find out about this until after the fact. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you're just an asshole. And that's why sometimes it's better for your mental health and your physical health to not divulge that information, because if the person who you're giving it to is not a safe space, and they could either use it against you. Yeah, because she was saying negative things about this woman's cancer. It's just
Wow.
like, you are just evil,
Right.
like just crazy.
And technically, that
uh,
lady could have sued her because why,
yes.
again, are you emailing me if I'm on FMLA? And two,
Yes.
why do other people know this? FMLA is supposed to protect your job. So
Oh, no, no, no. I
regardless.
found this out. Yeah. So we knew that she was out because she was on medical leave. That's what they say. She was on medical leave and she was about to come back. So when I first started, she was out, and then maybe like three months after I started, she came back. Right. But this was her second bout of cancer. She already beat breast cancer. This was her second bout of, she had, I think, colon cancer or anal cancer, something like that.
Mhm.
But me and her, that was the only person, honestly, that wound up being the only person that I stayed cool with from that job. And she wound up retiring. They forced her to retire. That's how it was. They basically forced her to retire. She was like, she wanted to retire. Let's say she wanted to retire in December. They were like, well, you either retire next year or in June. Like that. It was like, no, you can't wait till December or whatever
Yeah,
it
I
was.
would have
So
probably
they
sued.
kind of forced her. Yeah, they kind of forced her. It's just, I mean, the sad thing about it is that so many, and this person though, who was running the department, she was a very, very damaged individual. And she was so damaged that she used her trauma, right? So she used her trauma as a way, you and me, if somebody told you shit that they've been through as a child, like early on, you would
Mhm.
think that we're bonding, right? No. She just, to me, just used it as a way to kind of like manipulate and get people to trust her or whatever. But knowing that about her, you kind of like will probably let certain behaviors slide. Like, oh well, she did have a fucked up childhood. Like you would probably let some of her
I
behaviors
don't
slide. But
think I would. No, I don't think I would.
if you don't know her
Because if
yet,
you, no, if you like 50, 40, or 50 or something, and you still talk about your childhood trauma and you haven't gone to therapy, so that's a red
well,
flag to me.
it's a red flag for me today. It wasn't a red flag. It wasn't a red flag for me then. It wasn't a red flag for me then because I thought that, I didn't know she was telling everybody this. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I thought it was just a bonding moment
Oh, you thought
between
she
her
was
and
only
I.
telling you? Okay, okay,
We were
okay,
we were like at a private setting, like after work, sitting down, having a drink, talking.
okay,
So
okay.
I thought that we were having, a get to know me kind of conversation.
Hmm.
But later I found out that she told everybody this.
Mm.
Like, I mean, really traumatic. Like her father like locked them in a room. You know what I mean? Really, really traumatic. And that's where she got her grit from, I'm sure. Like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna succeed so I can get away from this craziness. But you also have to go to therapy and get help for the
Right.
damage, because you will continue to hurt people and be nasty, and that's what it is. She's like, it's wild. Like, it's wild. But yeah, I mean, it's scary to me when you work in a especially a corporate setting, um where you want to try to connect with people, but at the end of the day, it is a job. And you do also, like, if you need to go to the doctors or if you need to do something, you you may feel like, well, I don't want everybody in my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people can use it against you. People could judge you. Like I said, like for me, I probably in the past would have never told anybody, but I'm becoming more self-aware as, the 41-year-old woman I am today. So it's like different. Like, I really have no desire to work for someone who I can't get to the point where I trust them. You know what I mean? But it's hard because there's no way for you to know that. This is a complete stranger. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
the end of the day, this is a complete stranger. And the same complete stranger you have to deal with on a daily basis.
The thing is, though, is that what I've realized is that we're all dealing with things. Every single person that you encounter is dealing with something. It may not be on your level, or you not may be on their level, but every single person is dealing with their own. It could be a relationship issue. It could be a fan.
Yes.
Everybody is dealing with something that can potentially affect their job. So I don't
Right.
think one should be above another or below another, because
Right.
you may have to take off of work for a death or for, you know, and I just want to put a spin on it because Erica, one of our listeners, had sent me a message and she was saying she struggles with telling her job about her children's illnesses. And
Right.
so that right there is I know that that has to be hard, especially if all of your children have illnesses where you have to attend doctor's appointments, you got to leave work early, come to work late. Um
Yeah.
and unfortunately, that's why people sometimes stay at jobs that they're not happy or they're not making the most money at, is because they have that flexibility to do
Right.
those things. But we're we should be able to disclose things and not have it used against us, or not have people say, "Oh, God, you taking off again," or "Your
Right.
child always
It's so
sick." And
it's so unfortunate that people get conditioned to believe that um someone having to go to the doctors or someone having to take care of their family members or whatever, that means that like they're less of a productive employee or whatever, just
mhm,
because they're taking care of their family. It's
right,
like America is jacked up like that, where it's like some people will be like I had a job where I was in the hospital with my daughter. I had my laptop with me. So I had my laptop with me and I still was working while I was there, but I still told my manager that I was at the hospital, you know? And then he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like that be lies. Like,
it
"Oh,
do.
don't worry, like don't worry about it. Just worry about your daughter." And I was like, "No, it's fine because she's okay." Like it wasn't like she was like on a deathbed or anything. I'm like, "She's okay. We're just waiting for the doctor to come or whatever. I can do stuff while I'm waiting." Now, when I got on the chopping block, that was never brought up. You get what I'm saying? Like you made it seem like I didn't care about my job, but it never was brought up that, oh well, she even, was making sure that it's like if you go above and beyond, it's not you don't get credit for that.
That's why I
Like
don't go above and beyond no more. That's exactly why.
it's like you don't get credit for that. You only get deductions. It's like
For the
no
Yeah,
credit,
you only get
only
recognized for the
deductions.
negative things, or the things that negatively affected the situation. But that's another reason why I don't go above and beyond. One, because it in part led to why I have my illness progressed, because I was giving my all to these jobs. And two is because it's no award. It's literally no award for it. So it's a lot. I know, before I moved to Georgia and I worked at the Center for Autism, and I, I that was a hard time for me because I was working and I was going to dialysis, and I literally used to leave work and go to dialysis an hour away, right? And I had to do it overnight. So I didn't get home from dialysis till like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I would get up and I would go to work. And it started affecting my immune system too. I'm working around autistic children who put everything in their mouth and things like that. Um, and I remember I had to go to the hospital. And when I was in the hospital, it pretty much was like, "Oh, well, when do you think you're going to be back to work?"
Yeah.
But too, another thing that happened there, I ended up confronting one of the supervisors, because at that time my skin was really, bad, and I was going through a lot of changes. And come to find out, she was asking people that because I supervised the group, and she was asking people what was wrong with my skin. And you know me, I don't. You do you have something that you want to say to me? Because you're asking everybody else. If you want to know, you can ask me. So I went to her, and of course she was like, "Oh," me and her had already had issues, but she was like, "Oh no, I'm just concerned. If you are really concerned, you can come and
That's
you can
good.
ask me." Because the crazy thing is that she was my supervisor, and we had a meeting every week. We had two meetings. We had one with each other, and then one with my group that I supervised. So if there was something that you wanted to say to me, you could have said it to me. So people just are people, but um it's just a lot when you have an illness, mental or physical, medical. It's just a lot. And
Yeah. I mean, and I do think that there are organizations that make sure that they hire people who are empathetic. Like, it's like you don't want to believe that everybody is like just an asshole. You know what I mean? But there are some organizations who care about their people, and it's
I
just a matter
don't
of
know.
like, I think it is. I don't want to believe
That's
that
one of the
everybody's
reasons
bad.
why, like I said, I'm in a support group for transplant patients who are returning to work. And there are specific jobs who hire people who have an illness because they already know what to expect, what you're dealing with. They're more sensitive. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a job at, one of those agencies. But from what I hear, you call out, they understand. They prepare for things like that because those are the people that they have working for them. I would love to work and experience what that looks like, but there are agencies that specifically that they hire people, transplant recipients, or certain illnesses. They cater to those people. So maybe one day I'll get to experience what that's like. But that's something that when I, you know, open up my own practice, that I'm going to be very sensitive to because I've experienced that and I know, what that's like to have that on your shoulders. And when you get sick, it's like, what do I say? Can I be honest? Or, you know, how are they going to react? Is it going to affect my job? All of those things run through your mind, and it shouldn't have to be. You should be able to go to the hospital and be in the hospital and allowed to get well before you're asked, when are you coming back to work?
Right, girl.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, so I mean, I just think that I don't think that it's something that you should like just blurt out like without any thought. I think that you should fill it out first.
definitely.
Um, See whether or not kind of be what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like watch how they react to other people when people call out or when people, have issues that come up or whatever. Like I've worked places where I feel like a lot of way that they handled things was very insensitive, just like when somebody family member passes away or even when a coworker passes away. Like I've seen so many things like where people were just like, y'all not going to acknowledge this at
Yeah,
all,
or offer
it's
any
like
counseling services, or
nothing, just
yeah,
crazy. Like I know somebody who was like, one of her coworkers, he never was taking his sick time, like he was always coming to work sick, and this man died at work. And it
wow.
like they wanted people to just finish work. Like as the ambulance came and took him off the floor.
What?
And yeah, like he I think went into cardiac arrest or something at work,
No
and the
way.
ambulance came, but like they didn't like expect, they just kind of like wanted people to just like continue to work.
That's
Some
horrible.
people, yeah, so many people are brainwashed to like lose their humanity while they're at work,
Yeah,
like it's like,
yeah,
oh, it's not about feelings, it's not, like these are still human beings that's working for you, it's not a robot. um and I just feel like you get more out of people when they feel respected.
right.
And but you also like, I want to feel safe, and it's hard. Like a lot of times you
Mhm.
don't feel like it's a safe space, like, oh, I can tell this person what I really got going on, and they aren't going to like use it against me, or they aren't
Mhm.
going to take the information for good. Like they're going to take the
Right.
information, put it in their pocket, and use it against me in the future, or shame me, or yeah, shame, because shame is a lot, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
is.
it's so crazy when I like, when you hear sometimes people be like, oh, she at the doctor's again, or she always gotta go to the doctor.
Listen,
What? Like, do
I
you
dealt
think
with
that
that.
people?
You
Yes,
sick
but I
again?
do
You
know people.
always sick.
So like, I do know people. So like, for instance, my husband, in his line of work, they very seldom have time to go to the doctors, to go to the dentist, or whatever. And one of his friends was saying, like, she needed to go to the doctors or whatever. And he was being a little insensitive, like, about her having to go to the doctors, but he felt like she didn't plan it accordingly. Like, well, when I gotta go to the doctors, I told my manager in advance. You know what I mean? Not just like last minute.
But if something could come up where you need to go today.
What was the No, yeah, well, it was a doctor's appointment that was already made or whatever. But some jobs, uh I don't know, just to me it's just like, it depends on what kind. Like, for me, I'm not working somewhere, like, it just don't fit well with me. Like, where I work somewhere where I can't call out of work, or I can't take off work, because I know
Right.
plenty of people that be working places and they be like, well, I can't go because I
I
can't get
can't.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, I don't
that
ever.
don't work for me.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Listen, my last job, I never worked at a job where when you called out, they had to know why. So it was like, okay, you called the call out line and you had to tell the person who was not a supervisor, it could have been a regular worker, that you were calling out. And then they would send the message over Teams to the supervisor, and then the supervisor would call you and confirm it. Like, what kind of subsystem is this? Like, I was like, this is too much. Every time it was just like, why do I have to do this? This is just too much. But this is the thing. This is why there's urgent cares. You know, you might wake up feeling sick. You could might can call your doctor and they'll tell you to come in today. So
right.
sometimes
Well,
that's
just
what has to happen.
right. So like, or even for instance, when I started a new job in 2021, that week, or that my first day, I think my husband went to the hospital. I think it was my first day. um yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that Monday, because that's the only time he really can go to the doctors, is like that Monday. He's home on a weekend that Monday. So that Monday he took himself to urgent care. That was my first day at my job.
Mhm.
And I went they took me to lunch. So while I'm at lunch, he's texting me, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
so I'm telling him, I'm like, so in that moment, like, I definitely told my managers what was happening. Like, I didn't feel like I had a choice. Like, this was my first day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really have a choice, and they were supportive the whole time. Basically, like, the whole time I worked there, my manager was the lady was always asking about my husband, always asking
Mhm.
about him, about how he's doing or whatever, and providing updates. And then not too long after we left there, her fiance or whatever was in the hospital too. And so it was like, I think, like, if you are building a real relationship, or like, you being honest, I think sometimes some people are going to take it certain ways, some people not, some people aren't. But I felt in that moment like I had to tell them, you know what I mean, because he was literally in the hospital, like, and
Yeah.
Anthony, like, his sugar was really high. But I had no idea that that was happening when I left that morning. Like, when I left that
Mhm.
morning, it just was like, well, go see what's going on. You know what
Right.
I mean? But it was like, oh shoot, he texted me like, oh, I'm here now. Oh, my sugar is such and such. Oh, they sending me to Jefferson. I'm like,
Right.
okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to leave work.
That's
Like,
what I'm
it's my
saying. So
birthday.
for somebody to say, "Oh, you plan," no, you could plan, but if something is going to happen, it's going to happen. Like for me personally, when I go in new environments, I always get I had my body has to adjust to the germs at that place. So usually, and seriously, not this job. That's because I'm mostly working from home. But every other job during my first or second week, I will always get a cold or some type of upper respiratory infection or something. But that's the thing. I'm gonna go to the doctor and I'm gonna give you this doctor's note so you can shut up because I don't want you look and they're gonna
And
do it.
that whole doctor's note requirement thing is so messed up because I may just need to rest and take vitamins and chill at home. So you telling me I gotta go out in the world? I now have
Hmm.
to go out in the world, go to the doctor's office where it's nothing but freaking sick people,
Germs, yeah.
and just to get a note. So this is now what, an additional day? Like, I hate that. I hate the whole logic. Oh, you need a doctor's note to return. Like, what are you talking about? I just
Yeah,
wasn't feeling well today.
right. Or I needed a mental health day. Make that a thing. Make
Yes.
mental health days a thing
And that's the problem.
because
So many people at these jobs is so miserable
I was just
and their
about to
mental
say
health
that.
is so poor
Yep.
that they don't want to see nobody else take
Mhm.
their time.
Yep. And your physical health affects your mental health and vice versa. And if that affects your mental health too, if when you are ill or you're having like a day where you don't feel good, now you got to worry about what is my job going to say? What is my job
Right.
going to think? That affects your mental health. That puts you, makes you have anxiety and things like that, which people don't
Yes.
realize. So
Right.
it's a lot. But the good thing is that I do know that there because I am a part of several organizations like the Diabetes Association, now a part of the kidney, and there are people who are fighting in different places to have bills passed for people who have illnesses and things like that. It's just that they got to keep fighting because people are just insensitive to illnesses
Right.
unless it's somebody like the president or, us regular people down here. It's like, oh no, you got to still go to work.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a never ending battle. Um, I always pray and do what I'm led to do. Um, and that's just it. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. But hopefully it won't be too much longer to where I have to work for somebody. So,
Hello. Exactly.
yeah. Um,
So
go ahead.
So, I mean, I just think that, I mean, depending on your illness, depending on your disorder, depending on your comfortability level, depending on, how it will or won't affect your job duties, I just think that it's something that should be assessed on a case by case situation.
For
I
sure.
do think that, there's several people walking out here with many disorders that you cannot see that they have managed, and they don't feel like it's necessary to divulge it. And I just feel like if you think that there's going to be an incident where you will need an accommodation,
Right.
or it'll be in your best interest for your superior or HR or whomever to maybe know what you have going on, you could. But I mean, in some instances you don't need to divulge it. In
Mhm.
some instances you may tell a coworker, and sometimes a coworker can have your back, like,
Yeah.
oh well, they could speak up for you too. But I do think that if we all could live in a safe space where, just like, if you have employees, sometimes be considerate that they could have these other things going on. Like, I've seen some, like especially call center jobs, like they really do not care. Like
Mm-mm.
people will get dinged for going to the bathroom so much or whatever.
Yeah,
Like you don't know what this person has going on, why they have to go
yeah.
to the bathroom, you know.
Oh,
But
bring a doctor's
um,
note.
right, crazy.
Yeah, it's like, but then again, you also don't want to end up like the man that you talked about and go into cardiac arrest at the job.
No,
You don't want to
no,
end up
don't
like that.
ever. I was like, don't ever.
Take your days
Um,
off.
don't ever be so sick and you just going to work. Like,
Yeah,
no, that job is not
not
worth it.
worth
Like, no
it.
job is worth it. Like, if
No.
you have to handle, listen, you have to make your doctor's appointments. You have to go to the doctors. You have to do those things for yourself because you're not going to be good for anyone if you
Right.
aren't taking care of yourself at the end of the day. And if a job don't understand that, it ain't the place for you because they got to realize that people need to go to the doctors. People need to go to the dentist. You don't
Yeah.
go to the dentist. This is the thing. It's like, I feel like dentistry is not like people
Utilized
just
enough.
don't, or people just don't see it. It's like an optional thing. Like people don't
Yeah.
see like your teeth health being as the same as your body, but it's like my sister literally was in the hospital. She had a freaking cyst in her mouth. Her face was blown up and she was at the hospital and they had to remove her teeth. She had to have surgery and they had to remove her teeth in the
That's
hospital
crazy.
because your mouth is connected to your
Your
body. Like
body, yeah.
it's like
They're
everything, like
bones. Your teeth are bones.
people and your blood. Like when your tooth comes out, like you bleed. Your blood is part of your circulatory system. Everything like is going all
Yeah,
over your body to your heart. But people don't go to the dentist like they should. I went years. I went a period where I went years without going to the dentist.
me too.
And I
Now I'm
feel way
dealing
better
with
now
the
that I'm like,
effects
oh
of
no,
it.
I make sure I get my six exactly. Make
Yeah.
sure I get my 6 months or whatever. But yeah, like listen, you can't take out, and it's
Plus,
hard as a parent. You use your time to take your kids to the doctors. You use your
yeah.
time, like
Plus, what
it's
am I
crazy.
paying this medical insurance for if I can't use it?
Y'all don't ever want me to take no days off to go to a doctor's
Right.
appointment, a
Why am
dentist
I paying
appointment.
for this medical
It's
insurance?
weird.
And then they always put in the medical and then a dental and vision separate. That's just as important.
Yes, like we all got eyes and teeth.
Exactly.
Like we all got eyes and teeth, but
Child.
whatever.
That's a
Yeah,
whole nother subject, but
it really
I'm gonna
is.
use this medical insurance because I pay for it every
Yeah, and like only
paycheck.
people, from my understanding, usually only people who wear glasses get eye exams. Like people who don't wear glasses don't be going to get their eye exam.
It depends because diabetics need to get if you have an illness or
Right,
something.
but since the
Yeah,
regular people a lot of times don't
yeah,
do it.
yeah. And come to find out when they go, their vision. I know people who got some bad vision that be like, "Go get your
Yes,
eyes checked." Come on, yeah.
yes,
So, yeah, I mean, do what you're led to do. It's a tough thing, and hopefully, in the future there will be some changes made, some accommodations because like I said, everybody's dealing with something, just may not be on the same level as everybody else. And
right.
I don't take your days off, take your personal days and all of that. Oh, I'm gonna let my day no, go on your vacations, go to your appointments, do what you need to do
Yep,
because you're working to get these days off. Why not take
yep,
them?
right.
So we're gonna close with lyrics like we always do. What lyrics you got this week?
So my lyric is um from Understanding by Escape.
Okay.
What I need from you is understanding. How
You
can we
gotta say it like
communicate?
that.
How can we communicate if you don't hear what I say? What I need from you is understanding. It's so simple as one, two, three. Understanding is what we need.
Okay. I can see how that relates to this episode topic. So my lyrics are from My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me by the Ghetto Boys. An old school classic. Y'all know that about this song right now. So the lyrics say, day by day it's more impossible to cope. I feel like I'm the one that's doing dope. Can't keep a steady head because I'm nervous. Every Sunday morning I'm in service, praying for forgiveness and trying to find an exit out the business. I know the Lord is looking at me, but yet and still it's hard for me to feel happy.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Great.
no, don't say that. Don't be saying cray cray. But we're gonna get out of here. We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening as always. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace out.
Hold up. Don't leave yet. Thanks for listening to my mom and auntie. Make sure you guys follow them on Instagram at the underscore JAWN underscore podcast. On Twitter at W underscore the J. On TikTok at the JAWN A podcast. And visit our website www.jawnpod.net. Don't forget to ask the Jaw sending your listening letters to thejawnpod@gmail.com. Period.
This is the JAWN, a podcast. I love y'all.